Welcome to the Illuminate Your Essence podcast, where we cut through the distractions, programs, and stories that have created chaos in your life and discover the truth, bliss, and joy that exists beyond the external clutter and resides within. Welcome back. Today, I have a treat for you. I have an incredible guest, and you'll find that about once a month, I'm going to have a guest of my choosing to be on the show. Someone who's made an incredible impact on my own life, has taught me things that I haven't received learning anywhere else. And so I'm going to start this show off with a bang and have one of my dearest friends, Laurel Huston, on the show. She is someone I have learned so much. In fact, in my book, she's the only person that I've quoted twice. And so you can tell that she's made a huge impact on my life. And I believe that you are going to find the same experience. She's one of those people that when you leave being with her, you feel like you have become a better person. You really do. And you're going to see why. So Laurel, thank you so much for being here on the show and gracing us with your presence.
Oh, Wendy, I am honored. Anytime Wendy has ever asked me to do something, I'm like, I am in. This woman is pure gold. Everything she comes up with is amazing. And so it is truly my honor to be here. And thank you so much for having me and for just allowing me to come and share in your space because it is a beautiful space to be in. So thank you.
I love it. I love that I have friends that I just can have this kind of a connection to and add value to my life. And hopefully I'm adding value to their life. And so I love this space. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Beautiful. So first, like Wendy said, my name is Laurel Huston. I am also the Divine Feminine Enchantress. And in just a minute, I'll explain a little bit more about that name and why I claim that. I'm the creator of body mapping and the founder of Reflections Inside and Out. Our goal with Reflections Inside and Out is to help everyone love who they are inside and out because your outside world matches your inside world and your inside world creates your outside world. And so we want those to reflect the divine beings of creation that we are all. And the name the Divine Feminine Enchantress came about after a lot of healing and asking who my highest self was, asking myself questions like, if I was showing up as my highest self today, would I eat that, drink that, do that, say that? What would the highest part of me, the most divine part of me do? And the more that I started to ask this question, I thought, she needs a name. She needs to be known. And I need to be able to say, I am the Divine Feminine Enchantress. I know I am someone who has a divine nature. I am very feminine. I have that ability to live in empowered feminine energy and enchantress because we all deserve to live an enchanting, divine, pleasure-filled life. And so those three words just encompass everything that I want to embody, and that when people interact with me, that they can feel that in themselves in their own way as well.
Oh, that is just a whole lot of goodness right there. I mean, it makes absolute sense that you're on Illuminate Your Essence podcast, because that's truly what you were just expressing, that as you started to see your true essence, and you were willing to illuminate it, that kind of self-confidence is what we're all looking for. It's not that false, puffed up, I'm better than you. It's, I feel good in myself and my own skin. I see the greatness in me. And because I see the greatness in me, I can see the greatness in you too. And I allow, we can allow ourselves to actually put a mirror up to that person and say, do you see what I see? Because I see that you have all of these attributes too. And that kind of love and that kind of connection is what this world needs. So I'm so incredibly grateful that you were able to share with us that you have called yourself this and that you own it. How many of us out there would have that thought? In fact, my name is Transformational Advocate. And at first I was like, that. I thought, transformational, can I really truly say I am helping someone to transform? And honestly, I really believe I can. If I can help them to see themselves, for them to get back home within their hearts, the transformation happens on their end, not my end. I'm just the advocate that helps them and holds up that mirror, like we were talking about.
Mm.
So I love that you are helping women step into this role and that you are then teaching them about themselves and this incredible body. I mean, because really, truly, Laurel, let's be honest, most women hate their bodies. Why do you think
Yes.
that is? What is it about our bodies that just has this incredible hold on hatred? I mean, I just don't even understand it.
That is such a multifaceted answer. But I will say this. Um, all of us have different experiences that we've come throughout our lives. And we all know this. The experiences that you come through give you choice as to whether or not you want that experience to mold you or shape you and how you want it to mold you or shape you. The
Mhm.
unfortunate part is we don't actually understand we have that power until we're in
Mhm.
like our 30s and 40s.
Or 50s, or 50s,
Or
let's just call
50s. So, you know what? I'm not even going to say 30s. And all the 30-year-olds that are listening to that are like, I'm completely transforming my life. And I'm like, oh, sweetheart, wait till you get to 40. 40 is so much better than 30.
And Laurel, 50s, just telling you, it's a sweet spot. It just welcome those 50s into your life when they come.
Well, and I feel like it's because at that 40 point, you get to the point where you go, I don't even care anymore. Like, I am so done living my life to prove that I am worthy of love and acceptance.
Mhm.
And it actually goes back to our relationship with our body. Because if you don't love and accept your body, you will never understand that other people love and accept your body. If you abuse your body, if you use your body, you will allow other people to use and abuse your body as well. And I say that knowing full well that someone here will be like, no, I am a victim of abuse, of tragedy, of assault. Well, so am I. And
Mhm.
there were certain situations that because I didn't love myself, because I was looking for external factors to prove my worth, I put myself in situations where, because people make crappy choices and sometimes you're affected by those choices,
Yeah.
I was one of the people affected by those choices. Now, I can say that without blaming myself, without shaming myself. I can say, well, that was an experience that happened. What did I do about it? Did I
Mhm.
shut down and numb? Did I learn and grow? Did I completely pretend like it didn't happen? Am I honest about it? Did I let it become my identity? Or did I say that was an experience just like waking up every morning? And although it wasn't a beautiful experience, I went through it. To get back to your
Oh,
original question, though, of our relationship with our body, so many of us, because of experiences like we're talking about, have had experiences where we felt like our body has been betrayed through illness,
mhm.
through sickness, through abandonment, through just life experiences. And so we don't trust our body anymore. So we don't listen to our body anymore.
Mhm.
And for a lot of us, we've stopped listening to our body and then we wonder why we're struggling.
Yeah.
So we have comparison. You and I were talking about this the other day. You know, there's comparison and I when I very first got started working with clients, one of the examples I used to say is I remember I walked up on stage. There were 3,000 people in the audience, and this is how I started my speech. Hello, my name is Laurel Huston, and I am beautiful.
Mm.
And then I just watched the audience
They were like,
because one of three things happened. People in the audience either looked at me and were like, "Huh." They looked at me and then looked down in shame and
mhm.
comparison and started
Mhm.
going through this list in their head of all the things that they did or did not have that were similar to me. They immediately went into comparison. Or they looked at me and were like, huh, well, who does she think she is? And
Aren't
this,
humans funny?
it was fascinating to me because for me to claim I'm beautiful was so activating for certain people. But here's the thing, I did not stand on that stage and say, hello, my name is Laurel Huston, and I'm the most beautiful woman in the room.
Mhm.
I wasn't in comparison. I wasn't in judgment. I was just making a statement. If I'd have stood up there and said, hello, my name is Laurel Huston and I have blue eyes, everyone would have been like, oh, yep, yep, blue eyes, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
No one would have doubted my statement. No one would have compared the statement. If I would have stood up there and said, hello, my name is Laurel Huston and I'm a mom, people
Mm-hmm.
would have been like, okay, sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So why is it that our appearance, when we claim the things that make other people uncomfortable, that's where it gets wrong or bad or vain or
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder where it was that it was not okay to be beautiful, where it was not okay to own our very essence. I know that for my own story, and there's a video coming out in September that everybody will be able to view, where it shows that story. Where my story came from was that trauma place. And you're exactly right. They unfortunately victimized that space I was in. But it was from that point forward that I made the choice and I victimized myself, right? I went into a place of feeling very broken, permanently broken, is what I actually said to myself. And therefore, all my choices were based on that statement. I'm permanently broken. There's something wrong with me. I was very much taught that you were to be a virgin before you got married. So now all my choices were very, very limited to the fact that no, I'm no longer a virgin. I'm no longer following the recipe from the faith of my origin and the culture that I grew up in. So who is going to want this person who is now permanently broken? And I saw who I chose. That was my future partner. I saw the way that I treated myself. I saw the way that
mm-hmm.
I ate. I saw the way that I even dressed at that time. And it's so interesting that once I started to unravel that story and to really start to see who I truly was, that's when the magic started to happen, is that internal shift of perhaps I never was permanently broken. Perhaps I was always whole and I was always beautiful and I was always talented in the ways that I was born with, right? And now that I stand back here and I give myself permission to stand in that space, I notice that individuals such as yourself that have that same energy and that same vibration are just starting to show up in my life. My friends are amazing. I do
Yes.
not have sister friends that are catty, that are
No.
backbiting. I don't have them. They don't exist because that's not who I am. And so I attract a person who is going to also be that person who's going to respect and love me because I respect and love myself, right? But it was a long ways to get there, wasn't it? So,
As you were speaking, I remember a conversation that I just had with a client because she kept using the word becoming. I'm becoming this new person. And I finally stopped her and I said, sweetheart, are you becoming something because you're pulling back layers, or are you just washing off the dirt? When you pull an onion out of the ground and you start peeling off layers, no matter how many layers of that onion you take off, it's still an onion.
mm-hmm.
You are you have always been divine. You
Mm-hmm.
have always been successful and powerful and influential and worthy and deserving. Just because you some of us choose to remove those layers because we're trying to wash off the dirt that everyone else has put on us.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're not becoming a carrot. You're still an onion. And I feel like that is the story, that's the place that many people are moving into, is they're realizing I was never that. I
Yeah.
was never what everyone else told me I was. I've always been this divine being, this illuminescent essence that is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's just doing the things that help us feel like we can claim it,
Yes.
we can have it, we can have it all and still be loved. We
Right.
can have it all and still be safe. We can.
We can. And I think another really good word to depict this is that we're just remembering. We're just
Yes.
literally waking up and remembering that we truly are this divine individual, and that it is our birthright to have happiness. It's our birthright to have pleasure. It's our birthright to have joy, which leads me now into that space of divine femininity. You have taught me so much, being the enchantress that you are, that you have shown me what it means to really be fully feminine, fully available to be a woman, and to be in that space of embracing that femininity that I've always had. Of course, many of us were taught from the time we were little to embrace that masculine side. And that's a beautiful side too. There's nothing wrong to it. But when a woman spends her life in masculine energy, it could drive her into the ground, can it not?
So I want to just take a quick and define this a little bit, because if someone is hearing feminine energy for the first time, I want to make sure that they're not confusing this. So when we talk about masculine and feminine energy, we are not talking about stereotypical gender roles.
Mm-mm.
I don't care who does your laundry or makes the money or does the dishes or changes the oil. Like, we're not talking about those stereotypical roles. We're talking about the actual energy, masculine and feminine, that when it comes together, creation occurs. And women need more feminine energy than masculine, and men need more masculine energy than feminine, but we all have both. But when they're out of imbalance, or worse, wounded, we are horrible. We make bad choices. And so when you have a woman who's stuck in that disempowered masculine, she's needy, she's controlling, she's pushy, she's all about the hustle and the grind, and I have to prove through doing.
Yeah.
Where when you have a woman who's in that beautiful empowered energy, she's inviting, she's nurturing, she's in this place of willingness to receive, because a woman's body as its core is a portal and a receptacle for pleasure and joy and receiving. We are all about receiving. Our bodies were literally created to receive pleasure. And yet, how many women have shame or guilt or a story about how that's not okay? That unless they suffer, they can't have goodness, that you have to give in order to receive. Except that I always think it's funny, because I'm like, if you have nothing, how can you give?
Right.
You have to receive before you can give. And pleasure is one of those things that women and feminine energy thrive on pleasure and shut down under pressure.
And yet, how many women do we know that are racing their children from here to here to here to here, trying to juggle a job, trying to juggle church assignments, and saying, I'm doing this all in the name of love. And yet you start to go, is this love, or is this proving your worth? I would like to ask the question. You get to decide to answer that question however it feels truthful to you. But I think if you get real, you can start. Are you doing that because you are loving it and you are having pleasure in doing all of those things? Most of the time, the answer would most likely be no. If they do, I will give them all the grace in the world. That is great. If you are shuffling your kids and you're like, I love this. I love taking my children to all these activities. This is amazing, but I have yet to hear a mom say that. Usually it's, oh, I'm so tired. Do you hear that a lot? Oh,
I'm so tired. I'm so
tired.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah. And really what she's done is she shut that heart space down. She's not living with her heart open, because I'll tell you what, that's where we get source energy. And if our heart is open, we will have boundless energy. We will have energy for days. But that closing down on that heart space and betraying ourselves, self-betrayal, right? Let's talk about that, Laurel. Let's talk about self-betrayal.
So, and you've heard me say this so many times. Your head is a clock, your heart is a compass. If you are feeling lost and like you need direction, why are you asking a clock? And yet so many women will get in their head and they'll make their to-do list from their head. And then they go about their day and they wonder why it feels so unfulfilling, why they're still longing for connection, why they're still searching for that one thing. And it's because they didn't ask their heart. That heart space is that beautiful space where, like you said, we connect to source and connect to divinity, because uh, intuition is a felt sense. It's not a known sense.
Right.
Your head cannot give you direction.
Yeah.
It can help. Uh, it can help put you into hustle, though.
Yeah.
With with your heart space and with that beautiful space, um, many times if we ask our head for what we desire, because desire is an emotion, it has to take place in the body. When we ask our head what we desire, that's one of the ways that women self-betray the most. Because your head doesn't have emotion. It has chemical reaction, but it doesn't have emotion. Your body is what has sensation. Your body is what goes, oh, I want that. We actually breathe in deeper when we're excited, or when we're bracing for pain, we hold. Your body is where you feel desire and direction, and we betray ourselves moment after moment when we ask our head, what do you want right now? Because your head wants to keep you alive, but it doesn't care if you live. It doesn't care if you have joy. It doesn't care if you have pleasure. It just goes, we're still breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't care. And I'm curious what you would offer in terms of words of advice for a woman who is in that space where she is all over. She feels so completely overwhelmed, so completely frustrated. She's doing what the external world has told her would bring her happiness and joy, and what a good mother looks like, what a good woman looks like. And she's going, what the freak? I feel like I'm going to fall apart. Maybe I'm just not doing it right. Everybody else got it right, but I don't have it right. What kind of words of advice would you give her? Where would she even start?
So this is one of those, it's super simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah.
And the first part of that is actually to get back into a place that you allow sensation to occur. So I call it living a tuned in, turned on life, because the opposite of that is tuned out and turned off, which is how most of us are living right now. We're numb. But when I talk about tuned in and turned on, just take a deep breath right now. Just take a really deep in through the nose and release. Do one more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Did you feel your lungs expand? Did you feel the temperature of the air come in? Did you feel it go down your throat? Start there. Because breathing is something that is, it's automatic. Did you smell anything while you took those deep breaths? Take one now. Take a deep breath with the intention of smelling. I'm going to smell my shampoo.
Yes, I can smell the candle in the room, and I can feel the coolness going down my throat. I can feel the source
Expansion.
energy basically go through my whole body. I can feel that. I can feel that vibration when I do that. Now, I'm going to tell you, 10 years ago, I would have been like, huh?
Exactly.
So.
And that's why I say this is so simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy, because you've literally taken breath your whole life. And yet, how many of those breaths have brought you sensation? How many of those breaths have tapped you into your body? How many of those breaths have allowed you to feel joy? Because here's what does happen. Oh my gosh, what is that smell? You notice it when it's disgusting. You notice it when it is a warning signal. You notice it when it is undeniably present. So like you walk in someone's home and they're baking an apple pie. All I have to do is say that, and everyone listening to this immediately went, cinnamon.
Right. And our mouths are salivating, and yeah, all the things.
That is the power of your body. With even the memory of a scent, you turn back on. And so when I tell women, when you're trying to get back into your body, there's a difference between body language, which is all of the unspoken things that you think, and the language of your body. Your body speaks through sensation, through symptoms, through your features, through changes. Self-betrayal stops when you start sensing. When you start, even if it's just moments throughout the day. Do I expect you to walk around every day and be like, I'm breathing, I'm breathing, I'm breathing? No, that's ridiculous. But how often I worked in a salon for 17 years, and it was like a badge of honor that I could go for 8.5 hours without peeing.
That is pretty amazing. I'm going to give you a star.
It's because I was dehydrated, because I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking, no part of my body was being resourced, because it was all about the more I do, if I
Hmm.
do enough, then one day I'll be enough.
Yeah.
And now I live in a space that I can do less and still be enough.
Yes. Yes.
And that, Wendy, is where women need to get to. My
Amen
to-do
to that.
list, my to-do list does not tell me my worth or my value.
No.
And being able to be like, okay, am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Am I tired? Oh my goodness, I need to go to the bathroom. And honoring that really
Hmm.
is one of the first steps to no longer betraying your body. Is actually listening to and honoring the cues that it's sending you.
Yeah. I love how you start this process, because once we do get those sensations, now we can honor them in the day-to-day things. I remember the very first time I ever actually said what I mean and mean what I say, which is like the common question: what do you want for dinner? Where do you want to go for dinner? What
Mm.
restaurant do you want? And the old Wendy would have just sat back and waited for everybody else to answer and been like, that's fine. That's fine. All of that is just fine. Um, and yet my heart was saying, I really want to go to Cliffside. I want that salmon salad with the berries and the delicious poppy seed dressing. And I want the Arnold Palmer and the beautiful mason jars with the, and they stack it with ice. And I'm thinking, hey, what if we will go to Cliffside? And they're like, great, let's go to Cliffside. And guess
Mhm.
what? I sit down and I get that salmon salad and I get that Arnold Palmer and I see that view over the entire city.
Mm.
And now I am in pleasure instead of going to the rib and chop house and having ribs and nothing else, because I can't find anything else on the menu that is actually going to work for my body. So
So, Wendy, why do you, and I know what I teach, but I want to hear your experience. What do you feel like was the thing that gave you permission to start saying what you mean and meaning what you say?
it was ensuring, coming back to me and understanding that when I am in pleasure, when I am in joy, I see everything else shift around me.
Mm.
It took practice. It took practice to get there, Laurel, because I was so used to this people pleasing way of existence. And
Yes.
guess what? Nobody was happy. Imagine that. Nobody was happy, even though I was trying to make sure everybody was happy. The moment that I started to come back to my essence and started to realize that what my body and what I was feeling, not what I was thinking, but what I was feeling mattered, then things started to shift. And I started to
Yes.
see that my spouse was happier because his wife was happy. That my
Mhm.
children were like, I get permission to also own my identity. I get permission to make sure that my needs are met. And I believe that's where the turning point was. But it did take practice. I noticed myself falling into that space. And actually, funny story is, I have a daughter who is my greatest teacher, and she pushes my buttons like nothing else. And I remember we were in a situation, I think it was a family reunion or whatever, and we were trying to figure out what to do. And she noticed me trying to figure out how I was going to combine 10 different opinions into one so everybody was happy. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
when are you going to stop? When are you just going to finally say what you want and stop this insanity? And I stepped back and went, huh, I think she's right. I think she's onto it. I was a little bit irritated at first. And then I was like, no, exactly. She's exactly right. And she's the same daughter that says, Mom, it is so beautiful to watch you take back your life. It is so beautiful to watch you become the woman you always have been. And it gives me permission to be the woman that I am. That is the miracle that unfolds when you stop self-betraying.
Wendy, that's beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So this self-betrayal cycle, I would love for women, especially, I believe men do it too. It's not just solely women.
Yes. Well, and you've heard me say this as well. For women, if you can shut a man down emotionally, you can disconnect him from source, from God, whatever your word is. When you shut men down emotionally, you shut them off from God. When you shut women down sexually, you shut them off from source and from creator and from their divine ability to be what they are, which is creators. And it goes back to that body, that relationship with the body. If you take the most sacred, most powerful part of you and tell a woman to hate that she is sexy, to hate that she is sensual, that her body is deemed unsafe or unworthy because it's desirable, does she step into her essence? Does she step into her divinity? Or does she go, oh, I guess God got it wrong?
Yeah.
And that is how you shut a woman down, is by telling her that she can't have, that the part of her that was created for pleasure, don't do anything with that. The part of her that is a portal of creation is only for someone else. That your worth is dependent on how many kids you produce or how much pleasure someone else receives from you. And we wonder why women don't know who they are.
Yeah. And how many women have been sexually traumatized? They say 1 in every 3.
All.
And I would agree with you. I would agree, because even if you haven't been sexually traumatized by a stranger, how many times have we had duty sex, right? Like how many times have we done it not wanting to, but because we feel compelled that that's what a good wife does. That's what a good spouse does. And so I think we've all given away our power sexually at some point or another, which leads us to be disconnected from our bodies. And the world's going to know here in about a month that this girl right here never knew what pleasure really was until I was the age of 50. At the age of 50, I finally experienced the very first orgasm that I had ever experienced in my life. And it's because I finally accepted my body. I finally accepted who I was at the core of who I was. And I accepted pleasure. I accepted all the beautiful gifts that God had in store for me, but I shut myself off. And when you say these things, people may say, oh, whatever, you cut someone off sexually and you cut her off from God. Well, I hear God, I have prayers answered, I have all these things. What you are saying is true. The amount of information, the amount of alignment that I now am in because I opened up that portal of pleasure and alignment, I can't even compare the girl I was a year and a half ago to the one that is here right before you.
So I'm going to brag about you for just a second, because I honestly don't know if you would ever admit this. But when I first met Wendy, she was trying to qualify for a house. Very, very difficultly. And it wasn't an unreasonable house. And less than a year later, she was selling the home that she was struggling to qualify for with equity and moving into the home she had created a vision board about.
It's true.
In less than a year, you went from, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I can live. Where am I going to have a house? To
Mm-hmm.
I am living the life I have dreamed of financially, your relationship with your husband, your relationship with your children. A lot of your illnesses were starting to heal themselves. And people are sitting here going, all from an orgasm. Yes, from connecting,
Hell
connecting.
yes.
They are far more powerful than we give them credit for. But it's because you allowed yourself to receive pleasure. And when you allow yourself to receive pleasure inside or outside the bedroom, you signal to the entire universe, I am open to receiving goodness. I am open to receiving things that make my life better than they were yesterday. I am open to receiving miracles. And when especially women are not open to receiving pleasure, they'll receive, but they won't receive pleasure. They get what they get. And you change that. And that is one of my favorite things to tell and to teach women is healing your sexual self is not just about pleasure. It's a spiritual healing. It's an emotional healing. It's a mental healing. It's a physical healing. That is the part that so many women try to hold off on. And it's the place that they're struggling. It's the piece that's stopping them from healing. We were all created through sex. And so when you have shame around sexual experiences, you have shame around the fact that you exist because of it.
Yeah.
And until you heal your relationship with sex and intimacy, you will never fully allow yourself to heal. And that was the beautiful experience that yes, you through that one action, and I'm so excited for people to be able to hear and learn about that because it was a beautiful experience. But to be able to go through that and wake that up, that's what I mean by if you shut a woman down sexually, you shut her off from God. You shut her off from miracles. You shut her off from pleasure. You shut her off from living, even though she's alive.
And honestly, it was so interesting because I knew there was a video that was going to be a part of this book. I saw that it would be this short 7-ish minute inspirational film about one of my stories. And Memorial Day of this year, I'm walking around and a lot of my God downloads come when I'm out in nature. And I'm walking around Paradise Rim, which is really close to where I live, and I see the video just unfold. And I literally look up and I go, what the freak? Are you kidding me? The one story that I don't offer as a regular story that I would share with anybody, it was hard enough for me to put it in a book. And now you're asking me to give it to the world in a video form. And now, in retrospect, and especially after creating the video and seeing it watch and the magic that happened, I am realizing that absolutely I am sharing my heart with the world because I see what a difference it's made in my life. Why would I not want to share that with the world? Why would I not want to give that gift to them as well? And if I can say this without getting too emotional, remember I'm a Cancer. You're a Cancer too, but you don't cry like I do. I want to thank you, Laurel. You really did give me permission to step into this phase of my life. And that's why you're my first guest. That's why your words of wisdom, your love that you give to the world is so important. And I am so grateful that you are in my life. I am so grateful that you are willing to share your wisdom, your words of wisdom, and that you're willing to share that you are a divine enchantress. You are a divine feminine enchantress. to teach the world how to get back to this space that we've forgotten. I just want to give you that gratitude from my heart.
I very humbly received that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Laurel, we were going to talk about breath today, but you know what? I'm just going to have you come back on.
We'll have to do it again.
I think we're done. I think that we've been able to share what needs to be shared today. I know individuals are going to say, oh man, give me some more of this Laurel Huston. Where in the heck do I find her? And where has she been all my life? So where do they find you?
Of course, social media. All of my handles are Reflections Inside and Out, or you can find Laurel Dawn Huston. That, and I'm not sure how many women need this. I do feel that there's a couple, but I do retreats, I do group mentoring, I do one-on-one mentoring. September of 2022, so this just coming up in a couple of months, I am doing a very special retreat called Embracing Your Divine Sexy Self. And it is a 4-day retreat in St. George, Utah. It is beautiful down here. And it is a spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, full embracing and healing that part of yourself. And I feel like there are a few women who, if any part of your heart is stirring right now, the mere fact that that's the part that woke up when I'm making this offer, I invite you to act on that. And in the very least, find me on social media. I have a private Facebook group or a public Facebook group. I do tons of free content in there. I would love to have Wendy come and be a guest in that as well. So please stay in contact with me, because you can do less and still be enough, because you are divine and you always have been.
Laurel, thank you so much. I knew today's episode was going to be special, and it absolutely has. I feel like the audience is going to feel your love, that they are going to be able to remember who they are, even just a little bit, even if it's just a little gentle nudge on their shoulder saying, sister, brother, wake up, wake up. You just have been asleep. That's all.
Yeah.
I believe that that is enough, and that will foster growth down the road. So again, thank you so much. And I'm going to have you back on. You know I will, because we've got to talk about some other good things that you're an expert in, one of which is breath work and the power of breath. So with that being said, I hope to continue the discussion, the dialogue, the deep dive here on Illuminate Your Essence. And I can't wait to share with you more goodness on another episode soon. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. I invite you to continue the dialogue, the discovery, and the deep dive on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also on my website. Feel free to download your free copy of the 5 Steps to Discovering Your Inner Voice and begin your journey of discovering the truth within today.